Here we go, time for some Metal Gym. Loudwire just came out with an article called 16 Things Metalheads Really Need to Get Over. And I clicked on this as a dummy, just to see if I would agree with any of these. And they're all really seem pretty personal to the person who wrote it. So here it is, 16 Things That Metalheads Really Need to Get Over. It's by Joe who's a huge Machine Gun Kelly fan. You'll find out in a second. And he immediately mentions him right away in the beginning. This is all about how we're just, it feels like we're just pieces of garbages. Pieces of garbages? Yeah, why not? For not liking certain things, unless it's Loudwire related. Bands aren't as big as they were in the 80s. That's true, they're not. Now this next one really made me go, huh? And it makes me feel that the writer is in love with this person. Machine Gun Kelly, MGK, is huge. Deal with it. What is this? Is this a love letter? Like, read this whole thing, it's nuts. Ever since turning from rap to pop punky, Machine Gun Kelly, MGK, has been the most polarizing musician in heavy music. What are you talking about? And then it goes on to, you don't have to buy tickets to my downfall or like the music, but sorry folks, it's rock. It might not be grandpappy's or pappy's rock and roll, but the music of the younger generation always draws sharp reaction. Even right here, it's, oh, Machine Gun's pink guitar. It's the best thing to happen to guitars in years. Pink guitars have been around since the 70s, 80s, Joe. Get over yourself. The whole point, we need to get over MGK. As a metalhead, I don't think about MGK. I don't talk about MGK unless Corey Taylor is having a feud with MGK, because MGK's a little brat. And Corey Taylor likes to pull his pants down and likes to spank his ass to remind him who he is. Because he's a young boy who needs a discipline. So this part of the whole we need to get over things is the dumbest portion of it. MGK, we don't care about you, but Loudwire does, and they'd like to kiss you on your little mouth. On to the next. Bands who change their sound. When you read through this, he's talking about bands who change their sound after how they used to sound when they're in their 20s, and now they sound different. I guess. I mean, you can be angry that somebody changed their sound. You know, it's like when Five Finger Death Punch used to be super, I would say super heavy, and then they turned into some radio garbage, and a lot of metalheads like to call them the Nickelback of metal. That's why we call them that. They, you know, they just don't sound like they used to. You know, they used to sound pretty heavy, and now they're just kind of like, la-dee-dee, la-da-doo, I'm Five Finger Death Punch, look at my poo. There's a part here where don't send death threats because there's suddenly some clean vocals in the song for the first time. I don't know anything about death threats being sent to a vocalist, and if you are a vocalist watching this, has that happened to you? Haven't you changed your sound? But have people sent death threats to Ivan Moody for changing Five Finger Death Punch? If he has gotten death threats, that's just being famous, because famous people get death threats every day, even when they have their own opinion about something, and they threaten to blow up Spotify. And at the end, he does a nice little celebrate change, celebrate artistry, celebrate mistakes even. Sometimes going too far in another direction is just what the band needs. Yeah, no one's denying that, just there's gonna be people who don't like that you changed. It's fucking normal. And if you're a hardcore Five Finger Death Punch fan, you don't care that they changed. And that leads us to the next one. Bands who don't change their sound. Now, there's some bands, if they would change their sound, they'd probably get more recognized, but they stay underground forever because they never changed. It's important for bands to change, but not dramatically from metal to country music, because that would be stupid. Theory of a Dead Man made a bunch of country songs, and I was sitting there going, shut up, Theory of a Dead Man, you suck. But bands who don't change their sound, I mean, you have to change a little when it comes to the industry. Look at Lamb of God. Lamb of God beginning was super heavy, and they used to be called, what, Burn the Priest? Probably, I don't do my research. They were really, really heavy, and now they're still really heavy, but you can play a few of their songs on the radio. Even though metal before 8 p.m. is super scary, looking at you every radio station. Now, if you have a band called Dick Vomit, and you're making songs about eating dicks, you're not gonna be on the radio anytime soon, okay? You gotta change a little. Now, this next one I have really mixed feelings about. really mixed feelings. Rejecting new subgenres. So the reason why a lot of metalheads get mad at people like Poppy here is because there are so many other good bands with different genres. New metal, thrash metal, poop scoop and boogie metal, whatever, are super talented and they've been in the business for a long time. But this person does some baby metal stuff and gets nominated for Best Metal Performance. And you wonder why metalheads reject new subgenres when shit like that happens. It's because it's not fair. How does a band like Slipknot or, God, what's another good metal? I don't know, Wage War, or these other guys, these other heavy metal guys, make these super awesome performances or stuff or albums, and someone like Poppy, a YouTuber, gets nominated for Best Metal Performance? The big reason why there's a lot of rejection for new metal, and he has an example down here for Goo Goo Gaga metal or baby metal. If you don't know who baby metal is, it's their Japanese metal band that sounds like anime with a little bit of riffs in it. The reason why we reject that is because mainstream media, corporations, recognizes them over a lot of other bands in the metal arena, I'll call it. So when he writes, why can't metal fans let the past go? By doing this, you're stalling the future. No, Joe. No, Loudwire. We're not rejecting any future of new metal. We're rejecting corporation metal. You know, metal that the mainstream can, you know, feel safe with. So they can put Poppy in the Super Bowl someday instead of Disturbed or Metallica. This next one's really silly. The fact that it's in here is a joke. So here we go. Bet you can't name 3 songs. You can't name 3 songs. And of course, it's a female. And they're wearing a Metallica shirt. For decades, allegedly, old men have seen girls in metal shirts and they go, I bet you can't name 3 songs. And I bet you can't either. But should we harass people for wearing a metal shirt that they don't know of? Yes and no, and let me explain. I'd like to say this. I've never once walked up to a male or female and said, I bet you can't name 3 songs of that band. But there have been times where I've seen, let's say, someone who doesn't look the part of a metalhead wearing a metal shirt, and I've giggled at my producers and stuff like, I bet you they don't even know who that fucking band is. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny to say. If you're harassing people for wearing a shirt, what are you doing? On the surface, it's a humorous way to make you feel better. Well, we say a lot of things to ourselves to make us feel better, so... But it's just actually embarrassing. To who? If I'm saying it to myself as a humorous joke, how would I be embarrassed? And then he goes on to saying, who's the real loser in the game now? It's you. Yeah, you're right, Joe, it is you. The next one is still really stupid. Chanting one more song for an encore. I don't know if the writer has ever been to a concert, but it's starting to show that he hasn't. When we shout one more song, it's because we were so happy that band was playing that we want more. We want more music! And we're not gonna get one more song. But we know that. But we love to shout it because we're trying to show appreciation to the band. How do you fucking not know that? That's why this is That's why this is stupid. We need to get over chanting one. We should get over appreciating bands who play really well on stage. Shut up. The next one, I have a better feeling about, I guess. Hating bands who sound like classic bands. And I'm assuming what they're talking about when I read it a few times was this band here called, I think this is what, Von Gretchenschlagen, who sound like Led Zeppelin. Yeah, these guys. And people are mad that, I've heard Led Zeppelin before. Who are these guys? Well, they're just a band who love this sound. Look at the clothes they're wearing. It's the same thing. It's like paying homage but writing their own music. I don't know many All right, I'm lying. I do know a lot of people who say this stuff, and as one metalhead to another, get over it, man. It's people want to pay homage to the bands they really love by making new music that kind of sounds like it. And if you don't like it, don't listen. And I would agree with that statement. There you go, Joe. Something that I like. Next, thinking you only need sick riffs to make a great song. I do not know who complains about this, and I hang out with so many band members. But I don't know a lot of people are like, oh, did you hear that one song by Schmoopaloopers? They didn't do a riff. It's not a real song. It's fucking stupid. I don't hear that. You don't hear that in the metal world. Maybe the only time you hear it is journalists on Metal Injection and Blabbermouth and Loudwire going, man, that would be a better song if they had a riff, because they're critics. And they have to say stupid shit like that. This next one I really like and I really agree with. Thinking that not wearing earplugs makes you tough. As someone who's been in concerts and mosh pits and just a bunch of shit, wearing earplugs is actually pretty great. And these earplugs here, they suck. I would recommend Eargasms. They're really good because they have a filter so you can actually hear the music. And I get that you don't want to hear yourself sing when you have earplugs in, but I would recommend, and so does Joe in here as well, that you put the earplugs in for the bands you don't know. And then when your favorite band comes on, take them out. Save your ears. Yeah, that's it, really. Save your ears. It's okay to wear earplugs. So get this, the last part of this article is all about Metallica. It's all about Metallica. So many things about Metallica, told you. Let's see, Metallica firing Dave Mustaine. Yep, it happened and Megadeth was formed. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to both people. Jamesy Hetz and Davey Mustangs and Little Larsies. So, if anyone's complaining about it, you either like Metallica or Megadeth. That's the only thing I can think of. Metallica's Injustice for All, Jason Newsted's bass wasn't on it, but people still listen to the album. Nobody really complains about it, and if they still do, they're probably the 80s guys who, want to listen to 80s stuff. So let them have this, I say, so let's move on. Jethro Tull beating out Metallica at the Grammy over 30 years ago. Trust me, no one fucking cares. The fact that it's in here is because you do. The fact that the Black Album exists. So many fans of heavy metal music are simply offended by the Black Album. That is completely false. I have no one I know who hates this album. I do not get it. This is the first time I've heard of this. The Black Album exists. I have tons of friends. I am a friendly man. Believe me. China. The snare drum sound on Saint Anger. Yeah, it sucks. That's it. It sucks. And of course, last but weirdly not least, complaining about Lars Ulrich's drumming. I don't complain about it. I don't know many people who do. He's a great drummer. If you do complain about it, leave it in the comments, because I don't remember anyone complaining about the drumming. I like Metallica. I saw them live. They sounded great. The sound system was off, but it is what it is. Oh, that's it. Here's why I have a problem with this article. They don't mention Five Finger Death Punch, Slipknot, Corey Taylor, or Nickelback at all. I mean, there's plenty of things about Metallica, but not once did we talk about Corey Taylor. What does Corey Taylor think? Five Finger Death Punch sounds like blah, 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 blah. Nickelback sucks. I used to really like them. Blah, 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 blah. If you're part of the metal universe, right, and you're part of Loudwire's subscription or Facebook, whatever, these people mention Corey Taylor maybe twice a day, maybe 15 times a week, 15. And the fact that us metalheads, we always talk about Corey Taylor's obnoxiousness and kind of douchery, but then at the same time, Corey Taylor, takes a jab at Joe's favorite musician, Machine Gun Kelly, and we like that, and we talk about it all the time, but they don't want us to get over Corey Taylor, because they'd lose clicks. And of course, Loudwire loves to talk about Five Finger Death Punch, not as much as Corey, and a lot of us don't like Five anymore, but they're not going to talk about that in this, because they'd lose clicks. You don't lose clicks! That's why I felt this article was just not up to par of what people need to get over as metalheads. This article felt lazy. It felt like personal to the guy. And I took it personal as someone who knows all things metal. This article it had maybe 2 good points. The rest were complete In the comments below, why don't you tell me what you thought of each and every one and how maybe I was right or wrong. Having a conversation is actually a good thing. You don't need to cancel your YouTube account because you don't like what I have to say. Subscribe, follow, like. You can go to Loudwire and they'll be plastered their garbage article over the place. I think for there I am, and I am metal.